Alrighty. Hello everyone, welcome back to Not Just a Filmmaker, because I am not just a filmmaker, I'm also hot again. And I'll be honest, it is very hot outside. It's the hottest day of the year so far, and I don't know why. I remember last time I recorded this on the Monday it was supposed to come out, and it was so hot. And then the podcast got delayed to like Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm very sorry about that. I haven't even put up the clips yet. I've been very lazy about that. But yeah, this is it's also a very hot day. So I'm recording this and then hopefully I'll just bing bang boom, shoot that up, and hopefully the podcast will be done. Nice, sweet 30 minutes, a bit more. I mean, last episode went for about 50 and the first one went for about 25. So we'll find it in the middle somewhere. We'll find it in the middle. Yeah, firstly, I've been doing well. I've been doing all right. I recently finished editing a short film for an honours degree student, and that picture locked over a week ago. So that was pretty good. I just came back from a shoot down in Geelong over the weekend for a pilot of web series, which I'll be editing. Proxies were done this morning, which for those who don't know what proxies are, it's like we filmed in 4K, and sometimes the file size of the video is just simply too large. It starts to lag when you're starting to edit, and it begins to like break down how you're watching the timeline. So you'll see like you may see like every third or fourth frame, and then you just start skipping seconds and sort of stuff like that. Proxies are just very small versions of the file that you can watch, or that you can edit with. So that way everything's like much easier to work with, and playback works really well. So I am looking forward to getting into that later this week, and I'll give you an update on that in the next one about as more comes out. Yeah, no, that was a really enjoyable shoot. Like the people that I worked with on that one. Yeah, I think I talked about last episode. There was always a weird person on set. This set, no weird people. I feel like I might have been the weird person. I think that's the consensus. When there's no weird person on set, you just sort of assume that you're the weird person. I think that's a pretty safe rule. I reckon I probably was, but I don't think I burnt any bridges, so that's a positive. I don't know what else. What else have I been up to? I've seen a few movies, saw a few friends. Not much else. I'll be honest. Not much else. Yeah, I've just been living it up, trying to. I don't know if you can hear that. Can you hear that? I think someone's just using a hairdryer outside the door. So that's fun. That's always a fun thing when like stuff like this happens. As you can tell, I have I've done a reverse. So now you're seeing the other side, because I've had to have the curtain drawn for the entire day to keep it cool. Because I learnt last time I did this, when I like opened the curtain, just even for like, it would ended up being close to an hour. It just all over the place, like heat. The room was too hot. So I've done a reverse. I've chucked on an LED panel. I will not look at that again because that is blinding. Oh, okay. And yeah, I suppose like now you see the other side of my room. It's not as glamorous as what it used to be, but also like this is a pretty good nifty setup now that I have that I can use for when I have to shoot at night. So that'll be handy. I'm just gonna fix my chair so I don't rock back and forth. Yeah, I don't think there's that much going on. I think I don't know. I've been trying to eat healthier. I did have a few slip ups during the week, but that process is still going on pretty well. I don't know. I honestly do not have that much. I barely remember what I did last week. Like, I don't know. I wasn't editing. I don't know. I don't remember what I did. I don't know what else to say. I don't remember what I did in the last week. I really should have written it down. I mean, I have a to-do list written down, but I just sort of do them and I'm like, forget that. And I rearrange my book. I'm just looking at it. I rearrange my bookshelf. I watch some movies. that was it really. I do not remember what else. What else did I do? I don't think I actually ended up doing that much. I think it was just like one of those weeks where it was just quiet week, not much was achieved. This week I'm hoping to be a lot busier and more productive. You know, in terms of like, I really should be dedicated to the podcast, and I really should be doing all sorts of other things that help me advance myself and my skills. Yeah, I don't even remember what I did. Oh, this is awful content. Oh. I don't know. I don't know what to put in this bit. I did things like but obviously I didn't do enough. I've started reading Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules of Life. I'm a slow reader. I'm a slow runner and I'm a slow reader, and this book is good. It's interesting. It's fascinating, but it's nothing. It's. I'm just slow. I'm getting through pages, but I'm not like demolishing the book and absolutely like tearing through page after page after page, because I don't know. It's just I haven't done it. Oh my god! I'm trying to remember what else I did this week. Oh, I don't know. What WandaVision? I watched WandaVision. Let's talk about WandaVision for a second, right? This is I might talk about spoilers of WandaVision. We'll postpone that for later. I don't know what else is being done this week. This has just been like the last 3 minutes. I don't know what I did this week. What did I do this week? I don't remember what I did this week. I just don't. And I don't know how to explain what I did and what I didn't do. So I'm sorry. There's no explanation for what I did and didn't do this week. Let's take a look at what did I have planned for this one? Yeah, it's another hot one. I think it is temperature-wise. The temperature is a high of 38. So a high of 31. Oh, we dropped 7 degrees today. Get around it, guys. Get around it. Ooh. Yeah, no, way cooler today. I was expecting today to be a really, really hot day, and it just wasn't. Like, I walked out, so the first time I walked outside, and I'm like, it doesn't really feel like 30 degrees at 9:30. And you hang up the washing and you go like, well, it doesn't look like there's a sun outside. It's just one of those like days where you kind of contemplate how serious. I mean, you should be taking it seriously. How much global warming has an effect, because it's like the sky is grey, but it still feels like 30 degrees at a point, you know? It's one of those sorts of days where it's just like a blanket of heat has just been laid across the world. And it's I'm very happy that it's not as hot as it was going to be. It's like now it's like 29 and it's supposed to reach a high of 31. It's supposed to be cooling down for the next 24 hours. Thank goodness. But also it hasn't felt as hot. You know, it hasn't felt as hot as it should have been lately. Like, you keep hearing, oh, it'll be 34, oh, it'll be 37, might be something ridiculous tomorrow. This is just my personal thing. I haven't felt it being that hot. I think people go like, oh, it's hot. I'm like, I guess the temperature is warm today. But I'm not feeling particularly like, oh, I'm going to get hot and sweaty today. I'm just kind of like, oh, yeah, it's a bit warm. That's about it, all I have to say. It's a bit warm. It's just been warm. And I got nothing else to say about that, because what else are you supposed to build upon when you say, geez, it's a bit warm today, eh? And you know what? They're right. It's a bit warm. That's it's definitely no frying an egg on the bitumen hot wet sort of weather. It's just like a thick, like a, you walk out the side and you're sort of like englazed in like this sense of heat where you go like, I struggle to breathe in this, but I'm not sweating, if that makes sense. Like, I struggle to breathe sort of heat rather than I'm going to sweat through all my clothes in this sort of heat. If that makes sense. Obviously, me sitting in a black leather chair will change that by the end of the episode. I am more than sure about it. I just feel it like sticking to the back of my chair, back to my back, and just going. It's just like I've been super glued to the chair. I'm like, I don't want to particularly move any way further from this chair, but I just am stuck to it. Why am I doing half sentences? I don't even understand why I'm doing half sentences. They're just half sentences. I don't understand them, right? I'm doing it again. I'm halfway through a thought and then I just stop and I go, well, and then there's a pause. And then there's barely a conclusion to the thought. It must be a very unsatisfying podcast. Thank you to those who have been watching and listening. I believe I have got to 7 downloads accumulatively. So I lost one viewer, listener from the previous episode. I'll be honest, it's interesting. Yeah, I suppose I'm starting to get to the point where I'm like, am I going to commit to this podcast this year? And if I am, I feel like I should be moving to Spotify. Because at the moment I'm on Podbeam, it's just Spotify, I have to pay to get Spotify, but I'm on iTunes and I'm on YouTube. Video on YouTube, audio on iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. So it's I should really start putting the podcast out in more spots and seeing where it lands. And starting to take it, a bit more seriously. And I should also start taking notes during the week of what I need to be doing as a podcast. I'm going to make that note. Start noting down things in the week. Done. Okay, because I realize that I'm not actually preparing for this podcast that much. I have a few dot points, and then I turn on the camera and the microphone, and I'm like, all right, let's start talking. And it is a thing. I can't say if it's working. I don't even know if I have enough people watching or listening to say that it's working or it's not working. It's just going. And it's fine. I'm enjoying myself. I think maybe making an investment in going to Spotify is a smart idea, considering that's where most people who listen, who are around my age, that's where they listen, Spotify. So yeah, it's maybe that's something I ought to consider in the next few weeks. I imagine after at least this episode goes up, or after the next episode, that I'd probably make that decision. Or at the very least, I'd put this episode up and then really plan for the 4th one, and then chuck the 4th one up on Spotify. But yeah, that's how I'm going at the moment. It's hot. It's hot. I forgot what I'm going to talk about next. Alright, so last year I edited a film, a short film that was a really long short film. It was 35 minutes, so it's not really a short film, probably should have been shorter. It's just ridiculous, sort of wow, we made this. It's called Grave. It's directed by Caleb Kite, produced by Amir Hushadik. And it's going to have its premiere on the 17th of February, and I edited the film. So I also get a title card, a whole credit slate to myself. But I think that, it's all sold out, but I'm very excited to go see it and have my name up on the big screen. And yet also, at the same time, this is important, I need to look my best for this premiere. So I'm really tossing up on how I go to this premiere. Am I going jeans and a button-up Kmart top? Am I going Kmart model? Am I going dapper in my suit, my Peter Jackson suit? That'd be pretty good. And but then there's a third one. which is actually no, there is no third one. It's Kmart model or suit and tie, black tie event. I don't know which one I'm really vibing at the moment. I feel like if I want to make it a big splash, I should be wearing my suit, but also at the same time, I should be thinking, hey, maybe I should go with Kmart model. I don't really know how to take this premiere. Like, I know it's big, but I don't know how serious it is. Like, Kmart model, all right? Here's pros and cons. Kmart model. Pros, so comfortable. I don't have to get changed before I have to go. I can just wear the outfit all day, and then I can go home and be like that. Then there's, what else is there? It looks nice. It looks affordable, and I get to go Kmart shopping. And like any true bogan Australian, Kmart's fucking awesome. Here are the cons though, right? What if everyone else is wearing suits or tuxedos or really fancy formal wear? Because then I'm in this weird position where if they have a group photo, right, I'm that dickhead who wore Kmart to a film premiere. Now, I don't know what could possibly be worse for my self-esteem. Being the odd one out wearing a suit or being the odd one out wearing Kmart model clothes. But basically, that's where I'm at the moment. That's Kmart, and we're here in the suit and tuxedo, right? So for pros, it looks nice. It looks fancy. It's formal. It's adult, and it's it wants to be. That's a new Facebook DP. That's promotional photos right there. That's good for the resume that you look in nice and under good old formal suit. Again, the same con. What if everyone else is wearing Kmart casual wear? And I don't really know which one to go with. I think I might be going with the suit. I'll be honest. At the moment, I'm going with the suit, but then I'm also dealt with another different hand, right? My hair. I have not got a haircut since July. I just haven't. At that point, this is now like a 7-month long hair. It's starting to get in my face when I run. It's starting to get in my face when I bend over. I don't know why women choose to have hair even longer than this. Like, a Karen haircut's longer than this. I don't know why women choose to have such long hair if it's always getting in their faces. I don't know why why as men we force them to have long hair. I don't know why. It's so, like, just frustrating because I find myself like every few minutes, every 10-15 minutes, I'm running my hand through my hair. I'm making sure there's no hair in my ears so I can hear properly. I'm like combing at the back of it with my fingers so it looks like a little bit of a baby mullet. Why do people have hair this longer than this? That's insane. Even for men, I'm like, why would you have hair longer than that? It would just get everywhere. But my hair's so thick and curly, thick with 2 C's, there's no place for it to, I can't tie it up. If I were to tie it up, I'd just leave like half of it hanging out. Like, you need 3 hair ties to really get a good chunk of what I've got in my head. And I think I need a haircut. But I've lived with this hair for so long, it's like cutting a piece of myself off. Well, no, it is. It definitely is. It's just a really attachment issue sort of thing where I don't know what I'm expected to do with this sort of thing because I really, really like my hair. But also it's fucking annoying at the moment. I really, really don't like dealing with it. Maybe I should get a haircut, but that would give my family some satisfaction that I'm actually trying to take pride in the way I look. And then immediately after I go home, they'd say, oh, Lachlan, why don't you get another haircut? And I'll be honest, I don't know if I can deal with that. That's the sort of bullying where I go, I think I need to see a therapist again over this. Because this is just the worst type of bullying. When you have a haircut and they go, you should get another one. I only got one after every 7 months. Like, I had turned 18 before I found out my hair was curly as it is. I had short hair for most of my life, and now I'm finding out that my hair looks pretty good with it long and curly. But also, my short hair would be really sharp and dapper. I reckon maybe I go short again, and then I grow it out until September, and then I go for another short haircut. That's where I think that's what I'll plan to do. Have a nice short haircut. But I'm really reluctant to get a haircut, so I think this might be dry. I might drag this one out to the week before, or to the week of the premiere. And I think that's a pretty rational decision on my part, because hair is tough to get rid of, and I don't want my heart getting cut out. I just couldn't deal with my heart getting cut out. That's my... what did I have next? I feel like I'm getting like halfway through and I'm going, oh, what do I do next? Okay. So, yeah, I've been beginning to read Jordan Peterson's book. I read Mark Manson's Everything Is... The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. That was an enjoyable self-help book. It sort of like allowed me to, in my mind, start to take steps back out of stressful situations. Now, stressful situations aren't as stressful like the usual ones that I went through at work. They're not as stressful anymore, just because I look back and I go like, well, I mean, how else am I supposed to deal with this? You know, it's like the numbers are there. And I find myself going, I'm much calmer now. Am I like freaking out as much? Also no, but like, I'm much calmer now. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing for myself. I'm starting to read Jordan Peterson's book. I've got a few more books, like other self-help books that I'm really interested in reading. Like the Dale Carnegie one, How to Influence Friends, We Don't Influence Friends, or something like that. And, Everything Is Fucked, the Mark Manson follow-up one. I'm interested in reading that. But that's... I'm trying to start to immerse myself in self-help, because I just... I think that I'm beginning to appreciate the idea of having self-worth in yourself, and I believe that would allow you to become more successful. I believe that having a higher self, people who succeed more are more likely to have before they succeed, they're more likely to think a bit highly of themselves. Those who don't think highly of themselves, they're not really in the mindset to succeed, if that makes sense. I think I'm starting to trick my brain into thinking like, well, I've got to be like, I've got to love myself. I've got to be happy with what I have. I've got to be appreciating for everything that I have, so that I can, so that way I can not freak out as much. So my brain still keeps going. Excuse me. So my brain keeps going, trying to find the next thing, trying to build up my skills, my repertoire, and emotional intelligence and resilience, where I can look at it and go this situation is going a bit bad. Let's take a step back and let's just think for a second. And I think that is going to be the way that I'm going to try and start. That's what 2021 is for. I'm going to reading self-help, trying to change my brain into a more successful mindset, so that way I can begin to start achieving actual goals that I want to. Because I think there's a quote, I think I heard Tony Robbins or something. People overestimate what they can get done in a year, but they highly underestimate what they can get done in 10. And I think that's mostly because if you were to ask how many goals you want to complete in 2021, let's say, that's about 20 to 25, right? That's a lot, and you might be able to get through 15 of them. That's 60% of them. That's a fantastic job. But then if you would ask what do you want done in the next 10 years? You can only come up with 2, maybe 3, and you would should be able, if you focused on those 2, maybe 3 for 10 years, you would smash them out by at least year 4, I would imagine. So I think that's where I'm at the moment. It's just changing my mindset, trying to find a way, work smarter, not harder sort of mindset. And I think that's the right way of how I need to approach this. And also I recommend anyone who's listening to this to listen to self-help, either through podcasts or books. I like listening to the Jordan Shanks YouTube channel, Friendly Geordies. He's got his self-help channel, and he's Jordan and Neil and Jordan podcast with Neil Kahaka. I love listening to deep philosophical conversation, but they just kind of talk about things and what about this? That's an interesting theory, but what about this? That's an interesting theory. What about this? Just listening to thoughts and ideas like that, where I go I never thought of it like that. And then talk about a study. I'm that's fascinating. That's an interesting idea. And talking about how your mindset will change the way you perceive yourself and others perceive you, and how much success you should be able to earn. And I appreciate that. I think I look at that and I go, you know what? Yeah, I would love to do that. And I think that's something I definitely want to look way more into this year and in the next few years and continuously, because that's, to work on yourself is to be a better person, I guess. To want to work on yourself, it puts you ahead of most people who just sit there and complain, I guess. Yeah. And that's my beginning of self-help. But also I need to think out that's one of the goals of 2021, but also I need to look at how am I going to grow in 2021? How am I going to grow my YouTube? And I think I need to start looking at the ways that video essay channels do it, and how they sort of grow their channel and manifest themselves. Looking into that, I think I wanted to look at whether I bring back Platypus Reviews, which was an old movie review channel that I stopped July 2019. Whether I bring any of that stuff back, I don't know. I imagine, here's what I think, right? I think Platypus Reviews will now be going to TikTok. I think I need to start looking at Platypus Reviews in a 1 minute TikTok format, because that's the way my dad whenever he watched my videos, he goes 3 minutes, that's too long, make it 1 minute. And I think TikTok is well, why 1 minute? Get it done in 40 seconds. Or if you have a minute, use it in a minute. I think forcing myself into the TikTok time limit and being able to create engaging, humorous movie reviews within a minute is a skill that I want to be able to work on, because it's concisely getting your idea across would also make me a better communicator and a better speaker. I think it's just I think TikTok in storytelling formats or in opinion telling formats is a good way to concisely build your communication skills. That being said, I definitely wouldn't recommend listening to speeches on TikTok, because you're just not going to get all the information. You're not going to get all the information about the Paris Climate Agreement in 1 minute on TikTok. You might get an idea of what it is, but then you need to go and do your own research to actually hold yourself up in a debate. Because otherwise they're giving you a 1 minute version of the idea, and then you're going to go and recite a 15-second version of the idea. And just slowly it's just going to go down to a 1 word, 2 word sentences where if someone were to put it up in a debate, it just would not hold up. Because you'd go Paris Climate Agreement has all these 1 minute thing that has all these things, does all these things, and that's the end of the video. And this is why, the US should rejoin, or Australia should do better. And then it moves on to the next one, and then you look at it and go, and then you go and recite it to your family, and you end up saying something, you miss a few key points, you don't come across as just as convincing, and then you move on to then they might pass it on to the third person or a fourth person, and then it goes from, like I said, down to 5-second things where they know barely anything about the subject, because they barely remember what you said, because you barely remember what someone else said in a 1 minute format. And I think that's one thing that's the downside of TikTok. I think perhaps YouTube videos will be reserved for longer opinions. Sorry, I just need to quiet the camera. So yeah, I just think that's the way we have to. That may be the way forward for Platypus Reviews, and doing 1 minute movie reviews on. At this point, I may even just expand to any movie I watch. I just will review and put it up there, because TikTok is at this point it's a 24-hour cycle. You just got to keep throwing stuff up there, and eventually something may stick, I think, is the way I'm supposed to use TikTok. Granted, my biggest TikTok got 500 views, and I got told by my 13-year-old sister, you really suck at TikTok. And she's on private and got 1,000. I'm I don't know how that works, but thank you for telling me that I suck at it. So yeah, that'll be the interesting way of going through TikTok. I think podcast clips would be an interesting way of going through TikTok. I think that also creating 1 minute skits would be a good idea way of creating TikTok. I think this year I just need to start creating content. Lots of it. Because I wrote a skit last week that I'll probably revisit in the next week or so that I really want to shoot. It's just a skit starring myself. I just want to shoot that in the next month and put that out there, because I think it's good, and I think there's someone that I really like. He's called Ruben Solo. He does skits and videos with just himself on his YouTube, And I really want to do stuff like that. I think it could be really entertaining and funny. What else do I have to talk about? I think video essays, podcasts, short films and skits are the way that I want to move forward for this year. I think I would just want to create a name for myself, a brand, and also freelancing. I need to register an ABN, and then I need to start pricing myself for paid jobs. Maybe I do weddings. Weddings would be weird. But also I think I need to look at like where do I see myself in 10 years time? That classic question. And I think you need to look at it as like this is where I want to be by the end of this year. I want to have multiple incomes. I want to be able to move in a position where I could move out. And then in 10 years time, where do I want to be? I'm like, I want to be working professionally. I want to be earning not so much. I don't want to be earning X amount, but I want to be able to work. I want to have a consistent, job. I want to have a great reputation. I want to be able to work with heaps of many people. I want to be able to be in a position where I could if I needed to take time off, I could take time off. And I could afford to take time off. Stuff like that. It's about fleshing out what the next 10 years are. And I bought a 10-year goal plan from Kiki K on Boxing Day. I haven't finished it. I'm going to keep working on that this week, and I'll let you guys know how that goes in the fortnight. But what else do I have to keep going? What have I watched recently? Right. I'm watching Hunters. The Amazon Prime show with Al Pacino and Logan Lerman. That's about in 1977, a group of Jewish people are hunting Nazis that escaped to America after World War II. That's an entertaining show. I'm really, really enjoying it. I think I've got 2 episodes left in the show so far. I think they're doing a season 2. I'm really enjoying where it's going. If it's a satisfying conclusion, I'll be excited for season 2. Al Pacino's really good. Logan Lerman's really good. I don't know. There's not much else I want to talk about it. I'm really enjoying it. Do I recommend it? Yeah, but I'd probably say normally my idea is if you watch 4 episodes of a show, then you should have an idea of whether you want to keep going or or you want to stop the show. I think I did that with Girl Boss and Servant. I just stopped the show just because I'm so many TV shows. I don't have time to just watch every one of them. But yeah, I mean at this point, I think it's really 2 or 3 episodes, you should get the vibe of Hunters. If you don't like it, then move on. Because after 4 episodes, it's 4.5 hours. That's heaps of time. You should really be knowing whether you're enjoying the show or not. 3rd episode of WandaVision came out. I haven't spoken about WandaVision yet, I don't think. It is... No, I haven't. I'm really enjoying it. It's going in... This spoilers for anyone who's going to watch this. If not, like the video, subscribe to the podcast, leave a rating and review on iTunes. Let me thank you for listening and watching, and I'll see you in a fortnight. For those who have been watching WandaVision, stick around, we'll talk about it a little bit for 5 minutes or so. Wow, what an ending. Scarlet Witch is terrifying. I thought we would have actually seen her fight Geraldine, who is Monica Rambeau from Captain Marvel, the little girl from Captain Marvel. That's her in the show. She plays Geraldine. She's all grown up now and works for SWORD, I think. So watching her go in with Wanda, it was just so tense and terrifying, just because the way that Elizabeth Olsen is able to portray her character is just this intense, terrifying character, and it's such an interesting character arc. I do think she will be the bad guy in Doctor Strange too. I think that, or at the very least, she will be in a legitimate sort of peril where her and Doctor Strange will have to learn how to get along and fight this sort of world that they're in at the moment. But I think she was just terrifying. I think at the end of the show, Vision will be dead again. I think he will die for a 3rd time. I think the show will end with Vision dying essentially, but Wiccan and Speed, the 2 babies that they had, Billy and Tommy, I think they will live and go on as Young Avengers, but I think Vision will die again. I think it'll be a lot we have to learn how to let him go sort of thing. But yeah, no, a super terrifying ending. The Scarlet Witch is a terrifying character. I think I want to see her as a bad guy again, but also I don't want to see her as a bad guy again. Just because I like the character so much. But yeah, I'm really excited for the way that the show is moving forward. I think it's super interesting. The writer of the most recent episode is going to be writing Captain Marvel 2 as well, Megan McDonnell. I thought I was actually going to talk about this for way longer. I don't know what else to talk about WandaVision. I'm really enjoying the show. We're 3 episodes in. I love how it's adapting the sitcom material. The first episode being like the Dick Van Dyke Show, the second episode and I Love Lucy, and the second one being Bewitched, and the third one being Three's Company and the Brady Bunch. I think the fourth episode is... What's the fourth episode? Cheers? Cheers and Happy Days? Is Happy Days the 80s? I imagine the fifth episode being like the Halloween episode. Or something like that. I imagine, or yeah, that's the 90s, and I think that'll be like Friends and Frasier. Yeah, yeah, and then of course I'm just excited to see the way the intros play out. The closer they get to modern day, the more we see like just references that I would understand, like How I Met Your Mother, Friends, Modern Family. I'm trying to think of other sitcoms, none really coming to mind. I just like the idea that they at a point, The Office, I think at a point we will be seeing talking heads in the MCU breaking the fourth wall, which I'm really excited about. I'm really interested in seeing, like, I just love that they were able to just completely mess with the idea of this is a television show, and they just did that. Nearly 40 minutes. We might call it there. One more thing. I watched Ammonite this afternoon before I started recording the podcast this morning. It's good. Kate Winslet, Saoirse Ronan, probably going to get Oscar nominations for it. I don't really see. Maybe costume design and production design I see. But not really much else at the moment. I'll let it sit in me. But that'll probably be I don't know, maybe that might belong in a TikTok review. Okay. Cool. So I will talk to you guys in a fortnight. Subscribe to the podcast, subscribe it on iTunes, stay aware that it may be on Spotify in the next fortnight or so. Follow me on TikTok, Lockie P with a 3 is the E and an underscore before the P. Like my Facebook page, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video, comment below, all that sort of hot jazz. And yeah, and I'll see you guys in a fortnight. Cool. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.